Hello and welcome to Highwaymen Social, the program where we take a deep dive into the vibrant, colorful, and sometimes tumultuous world of the Florida Highwaymen. Today we embark on a journey through the sun-drenched landscapes of old Florida as seen through the eyes of one of the most prolific and talented highwayman artists, Harold Newton. Born in the small town of Gifford, Florida in 1934, Harold Newton's life was anything but ordinary. With a paintbrush in his hand and a dream in his heart, he captured the essence of Florida's natural beauty in a way that resonated with both locals and tourists alike. His work, characterized by vivid colors and serene scenes of coastal sunsets, swaying palm trees, and idyllic rivers, offers a window into a time when the Sunshine State was a land of unspoiled wonder. Today, we'll explore Harold's beginnings, his rise to prominence among the highwaymen, and the lasting impact of his artistry on the cultural tapestry of Florida. So sit back, relax, and let us transport you to a bygone era where the brushstrokes of Harold Newton brought Florida's landscapes to life. Welcome to Highwayman Social, where every painting tells a story and every story paints a picture. Born in 1934 in the segregated town of Gifford, Florida, Harold Newton's early life was marked by the harsh realities of the Great Depression. He was one of the many siblings in a family that struggled to make ends meet. His father died when he was young, and his mother remarried, leading to a childhood where he often lived with his grandmother. In 1951, at the young age of 17, Harold left school to work in the orange groves, but his passion for art didn't wane. He started painting religious scenes on velvet, a popular medium at the time, which he sold door to door. This entrepreneurial spirit would later define his career with the Highwaymen. It was around 1954 when Harold met A. E. Backus, a white landscape artist who would become a mentor. This relationship was pivotal. Bacchus not only taught Newton techniques, but also encouraged him to sell his art directly to the public. Bacchus also taught Harold about the power of art to transcend barriers. In a time where racial segregation was the norm, Bacchus believed that art could be a bridge between people. This belief resonated deeply with Harold and would shape his approach to his work.
I think Harold was much quieter, go in, watch, observe, learn that way. But he did a remarkable job. When I did the Highwayman timeline research in the 50s, I found 3 feature articles on Harold Newton in the 50s, which was significant. One was in Miami, and then right before that in Bradenton, Florida, there were 2 feature articles on him.
In 1954, Newton had a wave of publicity in the local newspapers. The first mention of Harold was January 28th, 1954, in the Vero Beach Press Journal. His art was on exhibit at the Jewett Appraisal Services office, where the owner said the artist was styling his tropical paintings after the spatula style of Beanie Bacchus of Fort Pierce. The following month, Harold was mentioned again by a local store owner. We wonder if Harold Newton, the young Negro artist, ever sleeps. It seems that every day he shows up at the office with another painting. Following his introduction to Beanie Bacchus, his name in the art scene was rapidly growing.
And throughout the 50s, he was in 55, he was in an art show with Bacchus. There were both, 2 actually, one in Vera, one in Fort Pierce. Bacchus got 3rd place, I believe, for professional, and Harold got 2nd place for amateur.
On February 23rd of 1954, he was listed as an exhibitor in the Fort Pierce Second Annual Art Show, with A.E. Bacchus also listed along with some of his other students, Thomas French, Vivian Lewis, and James Hutchinson. We can only wonder, did A.E. Backus encourage Harold to enter the show, or did he do this on his own? By March of 1955, Harold's work was increasing in prospective talent. He placed third in the Vero Beach Art Club's third annual show in the amateur category, while A.E. Backus placed second in the professional class. By the mid 1950s, Harold Newton was gaining widespread recognition. In July of 1955, he was celebrated in the Indian River Press Journal as Vero's top salesman, with the article noting, "There are very few business places in town that are not boasting a Newton oil." In 1958, Newton was commissioned by the Mackle brothers to create a large painting of the St. Lucie River, a mural over 6 by 6 feet, which was later gifted to the city of Fort Pierce. This commission highlighted Newton's growing reputation and the appreciation of his work by significant figures in the community. This early record of Harold Newton as a Florida landscape artist is most telling to the Highwayman story. Harold Newton's paintings are like snapshots of Florida's soul. His technique involved using a palette knife to apply thick, impasto layers of paint, giving his landscapes a three-dimensional feel. He favored Upson board for its durability and masonite for its smooth surface, both of which were affordable during his time. Each swipe of the knife added depth and movement to the serene scenes of Florida's coastlines and swamps. His compositions were often characterized by their dramatic skies and glowing horizons, capturing the magic of sunrise and sunset. Newton's ability to blend realism with impressionistic touches made his work really stand out. Collectors and art enthusiasts alike were captivated by the raw, untamed beauty of his creations. But technique alone doesn't make a great artist. It was Newton's ability to capture the essence of a scene, to convey the feeling of a moment, that truly set him apart. Whether it was the stillness of a swamp at dawn or the vibrant energy of a tropical storm, Newton's paintings were full of life and emotion. Newton's method became incredibly efficient. He could produce several paintings in a day. His process was almost assembly line style, sketching, painting the sky, then adding trees and land. This speed was crucial for his sales strategy. His paintings often featured tall, slender palm trees, vibrant sunsets, and serene rivers, encapsulating the essence of Florida's natural beauty. Newton's approach was more than just painting. It was about capturing the mood of Florida, the heat, the light, the vibrant life. His works are often compared to Impressionism, yet they carry a unique, raw energy. His style had the spontaneity of Impressionism mixed with the urgency of his circumstances. Each painting was a moment captured, a piece of Florida's heart. James Gibson has credited Harold Newton with starting the carved-in signature. Upson board signature will appear brown, whereas signature on masonite that has been primed with gesso has a white signature, very different than Upson. The Highwaymen, with Harold at the forefront, weren't just artists. They were cultural pioneers. Selling art on the roadside was their way to bypass racism that barred them from galleries.
They tell me, say, get out of here. We don't buy nothing from black. I tell them I wouldn't have. I said, I'm not all the way black. I said, I'm sunburned. And when I leave there, I'll be done sold them a painting because I showed them I wasn't real black. You know, showed them the talk I was giving them was some straight up stuff because I knowed how to deal with the white. Back then, you couldn't go across the track after 6 o'clock. You had to stay in the front of the bus station. In other words, if you crossed US 1 after 6 o'clock, it was a problem.
In 1955, Harold and his peers started this unconventional art market. They'd set up with their paintings on easels or in car trunks along US Highway 1, selling to tourists and locals alike. This was during a time when civil rights movements were just gaining momentum, and their art was one of the few avenues for African American expression and success. In Vero Beach in the 1950s, there were some social and cultural factors that may have benefited Harold Newton. In 1948, Dodgertown, that borders Gifford, became the first spring training site in the South to become completely integrated. Early Dodger players in 1948 described some racial tensions in Vero Beach. By the early 1950s, the team was putting significant pressure on the Vero Beach businesses to support their integration initiatives. Perhaps these ideas and pressures helped the Highwaymen to progress forward with the selling techniques, especially in the eyes of those local businesses. Harold Newton's influence extended beyond his own works. He mentored other aspiring artists like Roy McClendon and Sam Newton, his younger brother. McClendon, in a 1967 Miami Herald interview, credited Newton with encouraging him to sell his first 3 paintings. Harold's dedication to his craft and willingness to share his knowledge helped shape the next generation of Highwaymen artists.
There was a man in town that knew how to paint like that, and you need to probably go see him. So I looked for him, I found him. He allowed me to watch him paint. I would go home at night and practice. And that's where the story starts with this man. I met Harold in Cocoa, Florida, sitting behind buildings painting pictures. Because that's what he do, sell them, he paint them, and they go to the shops and show them to the people, and the people buy them. We go unannounced. It wasn't like you make an appointment to the office down there. You was walking in the man's place and say, "I got something I'd like to show you." I like that. But there's no soliciting in here. I'm not soliciting, sir. I'm showing you paint. They look at it. I like it. They sell themselves because they say, "How much you want for that?" They broke their own code. That's what helped us to sell painting. We just peddlers showing paintings.
Roy McClendon, Sam Newton, Lem Newton, George and Ellis Buckner, and Willie Reagan have acknowledged benefiting from Harold Newton, if only to watch him paint. The recognition came much later, though. It wasn't until 1995, long after Harold's death in 1994, that an article in the Fort Pierce Tribune would begin to give the Highwaymen their full due. By 2004, their induction into the Florida Artist Hall of Fame marked a cultural shift, acknowledging their immense contribution to American art. Harold Newton's story is a vibrant tapestry of art, struggle, and triumph. His paintings are not just about landscapes, but about capturing a moment in time, a slice of life in Florida that was both beautiful and challenging. If you ever get a chance to see his work, you're witnessing a piece of living history. Thanks for joining us on this journey through art and time. Art is everywhere, telling us stories we sometimes forget to listen to. Until next time, keep exploring.